National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Hello, good morning viewers, and of course to entire Nigeria. We started yesterday with talking about our democracy, which we saw the president give a speech. And of course, what is interesting in the speech, which we are still talking about, is the three cardinal points, which is said that the administration has taken up and they are on top of their game with it. Now, yesterday, we tried dealing with the economy and a little bit of security, and of course, we did not touch corruption. Now, it's interesting, for us to know that I have the same men with me in the studio to do justice, continuation from where they stopped yesterday. Now we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, remember we're still talking democracy, still in the spirit of celebration of our democracy. We'll get back to you, so please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa yang nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Right, welcome back from that short break. I have with me Dr. Lomefor. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And I have Mr. Goodman with me today. Good morning, sir, and welcome. Thanks for making it back to the studio. Now, we want to start on a different note. We'll still go back to the security that I know we didn't conclude yesterday. Now, we looked at economy, we looked at security. Halfway then, I want us to start on a fresh note of corruption fight. Now, as part of the three cardinal points that our president said the administration have done fairly well in, trying to be on top of that game in it. Now, the fight against corruption, where are we?
Well, like I tried to rate the government, security, and economy yesterday, the rating that I have for government on the issue of corruption is even worse. And I'll tell you why. Why I am rating the government well below average on fight against corruption is because they didn't quite set out to face, fight against corruption in the way and manner they should. You see, this is a national emergency. You needed to deal with it in a non-partisan manner. You needed to treat it as a national security concern. You needed to treat it in a way and manner as to stamp it out. In China, for example, a case of corruption is punished with death. You'll be shot. That's how a country confronts a monster in that manner. In Nigeria, what do? The way we fight corruption is through plea bargain. You're a lawyer, and you know that plea bargain is negotiation to get less for an offense you have committed. Yes, somebody told me there is a law that gives even the EFCC the power to negotiate, with criminals, people who stole, the country's fortune, right? Negotiate with them on plea bargain. Let me tell you a layman's understanding of plea bargain. Then I'll give you, the psychological implication of using plea bargain to fight corruption. A layman's bargain, understanding of a plea bargain is simple. You return part of what you stole, you walk away with the order, right? With the balance, right? Good. From professional perspective, as a forensic and social psychologist, I can confirm to you that following the processes of learning psychology, you are actually reinforcing corruption, because they would be looters know that they can get away with it through plea bargain. What that means is that steal as much as you can only return a part of it. That's one level of the problem. Now, you got people to willingly return or unwillingly or coaxed, however you do it. The important thing here is that by so doing, you are actually encouraging corruption. More so, if you look at the issue, also from the perspective that when you have a leeway, you understand what I'm saying, then you can commit the same. Again, as a lawyer also, you are aware of the fact that the legal framework to fight corruption is not there as such. It is true that you have amended what you call the Procedural Act and all that to stop the incessant, injunctions, interlocutory, even perpetual in some cases. There is an injunction issued in this country that perpetually oust the court from trying a particular former governor. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the kind of situation we're facing. And when you do not have a legal framework, the lacuna will be generally exploited by the lawyers. The senior advocates of Nigeria are making a fortune. They are becoming billionaires when they should be helping the country. We recommended two things when President Buhari came in, even before he was sworn in. So look, if you want to fight corruption, start off a fast-track court.
What do you mean by that? Because I'm sure there are people that don't understand what you're saying.
Specialized court that will face only corruption matters.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And get lawyers to handle briefs on deals. Do you understand what I'm saying? All these senior advocates that are making billions out of corruption cases could have been engaged also by the government. You take a percentage of what you recover. That's a deal. So that you're able to get conviction. Now, the other day I had Magu say that, look, that they have secured about 79 convictions, but he did not tell the country how many of those convictions were actually started in the last administration. For all I know, the present administration has not secured enough conviction. You know the case of Basu. Up till now, he's still fought, dilly-dallying. At the end of the day, it's obvious that corruption trials in Nigeria are handled as political problems. They recently released some lists. One thing that ran through that list is that these are all PDP stalwarts.
We'll still
Then
come to
you
that,
ask
sir.
yourself,
We are still coming
are
to
you
that.
saying that all the PDP people that joined APC, none of them?
Don't worry,
Right?
we are still coming to that, sir. I want to have your take on the fight against corruption. Have this government dealt with it in the manner that you think is good for the country?
Thank you very much, Uche. There are two things here: corruption and corrupt people. You understand? Corruption and corrupt people. What the government is basically doing at the moment is to go after corrupt people, those who stole in the last dispensation. They are doing recovery. If you ask me, it's better called recovery, not corruption. They're not fighting corruption. They are doing recovery. That's what they are doing. If you are fighting corruption, you are supposed to make sure that no kobo goes out without approval or explanation. So what they are doing basically is to go after those that stole. And my worry with the whistle blowing policy it encourages corruption again.
How do you mean by that?
Yes, because if you are here now, like say in this TSTV station, somebody want to steal money, I wait for the person to steal money because I'm going to get some percentage when I report the criminal act he or she has done. So you're supposed to stop it, stop corruption. It encourages corruption because you benefit from it. So the whistle blowing policy should be properly defined, so that the benefit can come to this country.
Now, before you continue, sir, now the whistleblowing policy, has it helped us, like making the government or having the government know that some certain things are happening, behind the back? If you don't give certain percentage to those people as the government made it to be, do you think how much the government said in quotes they recovered that would have gone that far?
Yes, they recovered over 500 billion from whistleblowing policy. But they will have recovered much more than that if the corruption, the whistleblowing policy is designed to benefit those who report an attempt. And if actually they discover and they go into the record properly, they will see that an attempt was made. If they are getting little for that, then the country is safe. But if you are waiting for somebody to steal before you report the person, there are people that will steal and go with it. There are people that will steal, will run away with it. So how, even if you report them, what happens? So there's a lot of information from whistleblowers that are not disclosed that may be false on that. And when I said it should be defined in such a way that nobody again can have access to our money, there should be some security to our money. This government should build security around our money.
What kind of security?
Security in the sense that before any money is released, you should go through 1, 2, 3, 4 procedures.
That is what we have here.
No,
on paper.
We don't have that. We don't have that. When you are taking government money, there should be a security in the sense that the junior officers will even know that some money is about to be taken from their ministry because it's public money.
Okay.
It shouldn't be business or keep secret. They say official secret. Official secret is dangerous. A junior officer knows something. I got the information from somebody in Ubec that the governor of a state, which I don't want to disclose, got counterpart fund from Ubec about 2 billion to the 2 billion he has, and now went to announce advert on some contracts in the state, whereas he was not doing anything. He did that just to deceive the people. It was a junior officer that reported the matter, wrote to Ubec, and Ubec went there and they recovered their money from the governor. I know the governor is still serving. So if it's left in the hands of big guy officers alone, the money is not safe. They are taking our money as they like. So the anti-corruption war they are doing, I have said, and I will repeat myself, they are doing recovery of looted funds. They are not fighting corruption. Corruption is still ongoing. I know of an officer or a place whereby you need to pay $500,700 to be employed to get an appointment in your own country.
That's true.
An indigenous of a country pays to an officer in an office to be employed. It happened in several sectors. Before you get contract, you pay some money to get local position order. You have to bribe an officer. before you are paid the money of the contract you have already done, you have to bribe an officer. So
Right,
all
hold
this
on.
is still
I think
ongoing.
we'll have a first call for you this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Please, your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Discourse.
Sorry?
I'm calling from Borno State.
Okay, from Borno State. All right. Please go ahead.
The issue of corruption in Nigeria, there are two major problems. Number one is joint account. Local government are not getting their grant direct from the federal government. This is one of the major problems. The second problem, the immunity of the president, deputy president, governors, and the deputy governors, they have immunity.
Okay.
So, the court will not prosecute them if whatever they do.
Okay. Now, you think the immunity clause is affecting the fight against corruption?
What I mean, if governor did one thing and he step down before court catch him.
Okay.
So the joint account, the local government are not getting their grant directly from the federal government.
Okay.
If federal government sends their grant to state government, and those governors are not giving them their money fully, because there is what we call family limit. They call local government, the governors call local government coming, secretary to the local government, and treasurer of the local government, and they do family limit. Whenever governor gives them, they just eat it after paying the local government salary. So this is where problem of corruption has been going on. We know from the federal basis, the president has done his best from the federal level. What we call treasurer single account has done well in the education, in the universities. People, if they pay their money, they'll go to the bank, and that money will enter directly to the federal single account.
All right. Now, you're saying that the treasury account is helping to fight corruption, or is not helping to fight it?
It's fighting corruption. It's fighting corruption.
All right. And then, sorry, hold on. The immunity you mentioned earlier on is not helping to fight corruption, right? The immunity clause you once mentioned.
Yes.
All right.
You know, what I mean, let's National Assembly and Federal Executive Council should remove that what we call separate account from the state government and local government. So let federal government check that local government grant, and yes, it should go to the local government by local government.
Okay.
If they are not doing their jobs, then they will just catch them and bring them to court.
All right.
And prosecute them.
All right. Thank you very much. My guest ahead, they'll do justice to what you said. Yeah, thank you very much. Sir, you heard everything he said, right?
Yes.
The fight against corruption.
Yes. The single account actually has solved a lot of problems. But what people are talking always is that the fight or the recovery is one-sided.
Well, don't worry, we're still coming to that. Like,
Okay.
is it balanced?
Balance.
Is the fight against corruption balanced, or is it lopsided?
If you say balance, lopsidedness depends on the context you are speaking from.
Okay, now we have
majority of those that looted belongs to a particular party. So how do you balance it?
exactly my question. My question is, like, Dr. Lomefor was saying something before, it got to you. Now, if you have people or you have list of looters, and when you run through that list, all the people there are from a particular political party. That was where I'm asking, is it lopsided or you think it's balanced?
That's what I'm telling you, Uche. You cannot have 10 persons that went into this thievery, this pillage, taking the money for 16 years, and you have 2 persons in the other divide taking the money. So definitely when you are going to try them, you try the 10 and you try the 2. How do you balance it? It is balanced already because the number that's told here are going through trial, and the one number that goes the stole here are going through trial. So it's a balanced game. You can't balance it yourself. You handle it the way they are or where.
All right, Dr. Lomefo. Now, the fight against corruption in Nigeria. What we are seeing now, of course, amongst the major political parties, we have PDP and APC going through that list. Is it balanced?
I said before that if you objectively analyze the list and even the timing of the release of the list, you see it is all political. And the issue of balance, it's obvious that the list is skewed, seriously unbalanced. It's a political, the fight against corruption is, used as a political weapon. And it didn't start with this administration. From the inception of ICPC, EFCC, it's been a political weapon. We saw how Ribadu went about fight against corruption. And eventually Ribadu himself, showed that he is a politician. He became a presidential candidate and all that. Anti-corruption czars are apolitical. They are above politics. They fight for the nation. They fight for the survival of the polity. They don't work for political parties. Do you understand that? Anti-corruption czars, where it has worked, it's not the case in our own experience.
I think I have a call for you. Please hold on there. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Engin.
Okay.
I'm coming from Edo State.
All right, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, I love this program because I always watch it.
Thank you very much. Please, could you make a contribution?
Yes. That is saying that the fight against corruption is one side. This war against corruption today, I even see the first president talking about corruption today. If you say that they have been working about 15 years, there are people that was 15 years. They never talk about anything corruption or refunding money. Today, we are not even seeing one president talking about corruption cases. And we are saying it's political. How can politics divide the nation, individual? The people that are staying in that power for 15 years, is it you that was not in power that paid the money, or me that staying at home? Is it not the people that was in power for 15 years that paid the money? What is politics of our city? Let's see the truth and let's set us free in this country. We should not blame the president. He even tried his best. Because he's an uppercut. Even if there's no person here to pay, they will not even do anything. They will corrupt the person as they do. It's a failure.
All right, hold on. I have just a question for you, right? Now, the people here are not saying the president is not doing well, right? Good. Now, my question is, to you, the fight against corruption, is it balanced?
Yeah, it's balanced.
Between the two political parties, APC and PDP, is balanced?
Yes.
All right.
There are some PDP and APC, they arrested. There are 3 people in PDP and APC, they persecuted.
Okay.
I remember one governor that they said that he take money, EFCC arrest, and he said that he's going to report the money. I forget the name of that governor, the former governor. And if you said that everybody, they should go arrest everybody. If you don't have proof of anybody that looks like money, how can you arrest the person? The people they are saying today, we should forget politics of everything going on in Nigeria. The PDP, APC, SDP, they are all one. It's just because this one is a different party, this one is a different party. When the party is not favoring them, they go back to another one. We should forget politics and look what is going to, this country is going to benefit.
All right. Thank you very much. We hope you stay cool in every state.
Listen,
I would want you to react to that.
I don't want people to get this mixed
twisted.
Up, right?
Mm.
The process is as if the APC government, right, has become a strong tower, and the corrupt run it into it, and they are saved. It can be proved. That's why I say that this is a political weapon. See, there are people who have cases established against them. An example is somebody like Chibika Amechi. Chibika Amechi, there was a judicial commission of inquiry on him. There's a white paper. Why didn't the EFCC disprove that paper? Nothing. You know, I just gave one instance, right? There are people who join the APC because they want to evade the corruption trial. That's a fact. The records are there. Now, let's talk about, you know, how the fight can be won. I think that is far more important. It's, you know, it's certainly, you know, skewed because the you know, people from PDP that joined the APC that should face trial and not face a trial. That's a fact.
You have another call to join to this. Good morning to you. Good morning. Your name is what? Okay. Okay.
What is saying is in fact, both of them are making it picture. And you understand, APC has become a scapegoat for criminals. Look at Obaneko. When you look at Obaneko, where is Obaneko located today? He has done a mistake. So many if you want to go. And let me tell you one thing, why they cannot fight corruption? One thing that they cannot fight corruption. It's corruption that brought it to you. How can you fight corruption that brought it to position? And the people that brought it here, they are all corrupt leaders from opposition party. They gather together and go to Nigeria money and return to back there. And if you go to want to fight, eventually you want to fight, or if you want to fight, or if you want to fight. And then all these people who have been in the political system today, they are all from PDP. They are all looking at one. But they come to the APC that they are free. You know what? If that statement is evident as well, as we want to Nigeria and for the Mongolia, could have taken that message. It could have been better for it because it could have not been done to anybody because that contains self-respect. Nigeria would be happy. And God bless us and God bless Nigeria too.
Thank you very much. Please hold on calls now. Let's digest what we have at hand.
Now, listen,
thank you very much.
Listen, let me summarize where I'm coming from.
Good. Now, sir, before you summarize, now we have two people saying that the postulation is correct, that Buhari is fighting corruption. We had the second to the last caller.
Everybody is entitled to his opinion.
Good, fine. And then we have the last caller saying that it is not properly fought. So
and that's my
still where we are.
That is my position. You see, and Transparency International is a credible international organization that rates, you know, between Jonathan and Buhari, we have dropped up to 12 points. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means that I'm not the only one saying this. Even Transparency International is saying that corruption situation is worsening in Nigeria. It's not my opinion. And I'm giving you the reasons why it appears to be so. You see, apart from the position of Transparency International, we have seen clearly that things that ought to be tackled are not being tackled. Let me tell you where to even start if they want to fight corruption. You go to CAC and do an audit of directors. You discover that over 50 to 70% of the directors there are civil servants. That's a fact. I challenge EFCC to call to do the audit of the CAC. These are facts. Nobody is looking in that direction. You know, you can't, you do a few symbolic, seizures and things like that, and you're not even engaging in what you call full disclosure. Up till today, the government has not given us the comprehensive list of loots and looters. Properties recovered, money recovered, from who, the amount, and why these people have not been charged to court. This is the problem here. Okay, you said they have recovered 500 billion, right? From people. For who? You brought out a list the other day and said that this is a tip of the iceberg. Why are you releasing the list in installment?
No, we should have primary and then...
Why shouldn't you give us the list? Tell us who you got money from, got property from, how much, the number of property, where they are situated. And more importantly, why haven't you charged these people to court? Because the list that was released by the office of the Minister of Information, over 80% of the people on that list are not in court. The question is why? What does that leave you with? It leaves you with the presupposition that the people, were traded off on plea bargain. That's what it means. So when what then is your goal? Is it to recover or to stop corruption? It goes back to what my friend here said, that what is going on is loot recovery, not fight against corruption. Because all these people should be in court. Let me tell you why Ibori escaped in Nigeria and was convicted in UK. It's because of the goal. The goal in UK is to stamp out corruption. And in doing so, they can spend £1 billion to prove a case of £10,000 theft. So it's not the money. The goal is not the money. They got the priority wrong by making loot recovery their goal, because they believe they needed the money corruption rather than fight corruption. Where is Babachia? David Babachia was removed as secretary to government of the federation. Why? Because of his collusion in a grass cutting and grass cutting, contracts and stuff like that. That's corruption, right? Why is Babachia not in court?
Okay.
So what are we really talking about? Where is the fight against corruption? I want to see it.
Hold on there. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll move over straight to you, Mr. Goodman. If you remember the thought our last caller raised an issue of immunity and then single treasury account. You tell us how that has been an impediment to the fight against corruption. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse. Weekdays on NCTV.
All right, so welcome back from that break. And before we went on a break, Mr. Goodman, I wanted you to respond to the young man that directed some questions, to you. He was talking about the single treasury account and immunity clause of certain people, especially the governors, as an impediment to fighting corruption. So I wanted to respond to that.
Yes, immunity is very dangerous to this country. It has been abused. They are immune to steal. You understand me?
Who exactly, sir?
Especially the chief executives, the governors, president. These are the people that constitution is respecting them instead of them respecting the constitution of a country. Whoever must have impute or smuggled that clause into our constitution, I don't think Almighty Allah will forgive that person. An attempt was made twice from Yaradua to remove it, so that when you still in office, you should face the disgrace in office. You should be punished in office. How can you steal in office? So, like, if you are coming out of one immunity and you are going to immunity, when will you be prosecuted? Yaradua Jonathan served as governor of their various states, and they contested from that level, and they got straight to Aso Rock, another immunity level of immunity. So when will they be prosecuted? Who will prosecute them? Forever, some people immunity will continue to protect them forever and ever. So immunity should be removed from our constitution. There should be a referendum in our constitution so that we can raise too many issues and the general public will solve their problem by themselves. If there's a referendum now and they go around the whole country, you see that about 99% will support it that it should be removed. But when you leave it with the senators who cannot even disclose their own salary, who cannot tell us how much they are paying them from our own revenue, from our own money, who want more than that, who demand for money to pass budget, who demand money to impute or pad budget themselves. So how can the same people who are guilty of this, who abuse the immunity, work for the removal of the immunity?
All right, let me just ask a straight question. Does our senators have immunity?
About 30 or 40% of them were former governors, so they enjoy immunity. So how will they? And some people who are in the Senate are hoping to go and become governors. They are not an ambition. So how can they remove immunity?
Now let's talk later about Dino Melaye's case.
Okay.
And we've seen this government, have some moves. Dino Melaye, the last time I remembered, is APC member, right?
Yes.
Now his matter or his case that is ongoing. Do we still say that the government's fight against corruption is still one-sided? Because apart from him, we still saw like two governors, deputy governor, getting involved. They are all APC members too.
Well, Dino Melaye is not facing corruption issue.
No.
Dino Melaye is a criminal issue that was leveled against him. So
I know
the kind of effort deployed to fight Dino, if it's deployed the same to fight corruption or fighting the herdsmen or whatever, you will see result. 150 up to 150 policemen against Dino, who is a civilian, a man without nothing. So that's not the issue. The imbalance they are talking about, it appears to look like it is imbalanced, but to me it's balanced because they don't have equal number of criminals or looters in both political parties. But those who, the moment they cross, their issue die down. It's my worry, it's my concern, and the concern of every Nigerian.
Now, are we saying that there should be more stringent rules about cross-carpeting?
And I want to tell you something that I don't want to blame Buhari. I want to leave Buhari out of it. But 20% of the blame goes to him. Why is he not asking the man who is fighting corruption, why are some persons left out? But Nigerians, we have the role to play. We should go and ask Mangu, why is he protecting some criminals? Why is he protecting one group of persons? Why is the fight directed at a particular direction? Even if there are few criminals here, bring them here, investigate them and show them report. Like people are accusing Amechi every day. Even if you don't arrest Amechi, investigate Amechi and show the report to us. Simple. You can investigate somebody without arresting the person. And the governor that succeeded him is ready to give you all the facts about him. So why not simply get the facts about him and then go do your search, double check about what he did with our money, and then give us the report, and then Nigeria will be at peace. that he stole or he did not steal, the judgment will take it very simple. So Magu should be held responsible for whatever is happening and not Buhari, because he is in charge. He asks his boys where to go and where not to go. So if they are protecting or shielding some person from a particular political party, then he's not fit to be there. I am his number one supporter, particularly when the Senate were against him. I wrote so many things to support him, because they will, I said they will never approve his appointment because he is fighting them directly. How can you give your opponent a weapon to fight you? Is it possible, Che? So Magu, the whistle blower, we should now rise against Magu, and then Buhari should see that Nigerians are complaining about the one-sided fight. So if we leave it for Buhari to mark the script or to go around the whole work, he cannot do it. That he even gave them the go-ahead. He has the mind to fight corruption. I know that, because he is not corrupt. If you ask me anywhere, no, even if I'm against him, I know about him not to be corrupt, and I'll say that anywhere in the world. I'm not afraid to say it. But then we should challenge Magu now. Like we're here now, I will on my own go to apply to Magu and ask him why is the fight one-sided. I'm going to do that, and I assure you, and I'll get back to you the report of my findings from him.
All right.
And I applaud Nigerians. Let us all rise against what Magu is doing, not Buhari.
I want to make one clarification.
All right, sir.
It is not true that the immunity of governors stops them from being removed from office.
He's talking about fighting.
Excuse me.
All
Listen
right.
now. You see, because we need to put things straight. There are governors that left office 2007. Their cases are in FCC up to today. Nothing. How many years down the line? That's about 12 years down the line. Nothing. I don't want to mention names. And some of them are sitting in the Senate. Senators don't enjoy immunity. The Constitution is there. Their immunity is limited to what they say on the floor of either the House or the Senate. Do you understand? House of Reps or in the Red Chamber. That is where it stops. What you say or do there. That means their problem of corruption is not stopped by their membership of the Senate.
I think you have a call. Sorry. I've held this for a long time. Hello? Good morning to you. Hello? Oh, we lost the call.
You see, the EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct Bureau can investigate a sitting governor.
Yeah.
There is no law that says you can't.
Okay.
You can investigate a sitting governor and make the file available to the House, the houses of assembly in the various states. Yeah. It becomes the basis for the impeachment of such a governor. But of course, that will be an exercise in futility. You know why? The governors enjoy absolute powers in states. The states' houses of assembly are rubber stamps. They do not have what we call financial autonomy. What that means is that they have to rely on the governor to survive.
Okay.
They cannot fight the governor. That is why you don't have a single state house of assembly in Nigeria as we speak.
Hold on, sir, please. Good morning. Good morning to you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So the issue is the system itself is not working the way it is structured. It's not that the law stops the ICPC, FCC, Code of Conduct Bureau from investigating governors and making the files available. Do you understand what I'm saying? The process can become a stillborn because of these constraints that I have mentioned. But beyond that, more importantly, like I have often said, you see, if you are really out to fight corruption, you understand what I'm saying? You will certainly take a different approach than the way we're going at the moment. You do not need to go for the money as your primary concern. Your primary concern should be conviction. That means plea bargain should be totally out of it if you're treating fight against corruption as a national emergency. Otherwise, people can say, look, I have 2 billion, so, and of course, there may not be complete disclosure. Because some of these things are voluntarily done, they declare the amount they wish. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Then you stop investigating such people because they came forward. Look at the case of Olisameto. Olisametu was offered the opportunity to refund 400 million. He delayed and they took him to court. That means if Olisametu had paid the 400 million, he was alleged to have collected from Dasuki, the then national security advisor,
he would have been pardoned.
Then he would have been out of the hook. He wouldn't be, having the problems or having to faint in court and get well again and all that and return to court, to the point that we have now gotten to the absurd level of granting that he should be tried in absentia in a criminal matter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these are the kind of things you have that make people to say, look, it's as if your concern is not really to punish corruption. You are going for other things. If you force me, I will mention people in PDP who entered APC, governors, ministers, senators, that their cases have stopped. In fact, the EFCC, ICPC entered no prosecute.
I wouldn't want to force you to do that, sir.
I don't want to do that.
Yes, sir.
But I know that Nigerians know them. Now, I think that the president needs to rejig everything. He scored himself high. To be honest, the president didn't score 40% in the fight against corruption. And if he is truly living in Nigeria and understands that corruption is worsening under his watch, he may not be corrupt. I don't know. I haven't investigated him, so I wouldn't know whether he's corrupt or not. That's the general perception, that he is not corrupt. I don't know. But I know all his children are in UK. I don't know if military gratuity is enough to do all that. I don't want to go into the president and that. At his level, he can develop enough goodwill to investments and stuff to give him money to have a private jet, have his children in a Harvard and Oxford and all that. No problem. We give that to him. He's been head of state for the past 30 years, right? Now, but the issue is, here you are saddled with the responsibility of making good the claim. You remember that the APC itself rose to power based on fight against corruption, security, and addressing the economy. These are the three crests that brought the present government to office. Now, how come you had such ample opportunity and you wouldn't face it head on? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know, I read in the papers that Magu is nursing a gubernatorial ambition to rule Borno State? You're a journalist, you can investigate that. And if that is true, remember what I told you. Anti-corruption czars are not politicians. Anti-corruption czars are not, they have no sympathy for any political party. They are a both party. They work for nation. They work for national security. If Magu is working for APC, you can understand the softness for people who are in APC. And if indeed, because I read in the papers that he has a gubernatorial ambition. It may be a propaganda, but then remember the case of Ribadu. Ribadu became a presidential candidate, which means he had been political all along. Obasanjo used him as a political tool to hound the opposition political parties. So if that is the culture and is continuing under Magu, what magic do you expect? How one definition of madness, to do one thing 20 times and you do it the 21st time thinking you get a different result. Nothing will change.
All right, now let's look at the looted funds, right? We saw the president saying that they have recovered a whole lot. It's still in the speech, and of course, I'm sure we read that in so many papers. Now, these monies that have been recovered, where exactly are they channeled to? I don't want to ask where they are, but where exactly have they been channeled to? What significant social responsibility of the government have we been told that this is what these monies were used to do?
Uche,
sir,
do us a favor by bringing Magu on this hot seat. Bring Magu here and you throw these questions this particular question to Magu. He is a person to answer it, and the second person should be the president, because maybe they work together or hand in hand. We are hearing about recovery, this and that. We don't know where the catch lodged, but they should know better what they are using it for. I can really tell. Even the Abacha loot that was brought back, it's media, social media, newspaper, all these forums outlets that you read something about it. They should categorically tell us about where the money is or where they are and what is happening to the money. The other time there was a report that the looted money was looted again. I don't know if you listened to that. We all heard about how looted money was looted. So
that is relooting.
Relooting of the money is going on. So for us to not to know any fear about our money, they should always be telling us about our money. Like they're telling us yesterday they reported 47 billion in the foreign account and today is 48 billion naira. So we should know dollars. So we should know where our money is and what is happening to our money at any particular time. So I really want to go back to the corruption fight. There was a good work started by Ikonjo Wella, that woman. She used to disclose to us at the end of every month allocations to various arms, states, local government and national. And I don't know why this government stopped that.
Did they stop that, or the finance minister?
It's the government. It's part of the government. Okay. That is no longer ongoing. It's not if it's going on, but maybe secretly. Before they take pages of newspaper, television, radio to tell us how much allocation to go down to the extent of local government, how much a local government collect, because they are the rogues in charge of various local government now are not ready to disclose what is happening. And the master rogues at the state level who call themselves governor give them peanuts, and then they out of the peanuts they pillage it from it again. So they will not tell you how much that is given to them. So when we get to know how much is coming to a local government and there's no commensurate work on ground and workers are not paid, like in my state for 27 months to 30 months now, civil servants are not paid from local government to state level.
Can I just pick this last call, sir?
Yeah.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please, can you please turn down the volume of your TV set?
Okay.
All right. Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Buka.
Okay.
I'm calling from Jos Plateau.
From Jos Plateau State. Okay. Please go ahead.
As regards the fight against corruption, what I have to say is that in comparison to Germany, has fought corruption as little as Wari and Magu are doing right now. Or if Goodluck had done the same thing. I think corruption in Nigeria would have come to the barest minimum as we speak right now. Because we cannot continue to lay blame on the president and how so whereby corruption just the fight of corruption just started like the child said. All
right, thank you very much for that contribution.
So, like I was saying, the former Minister of Finance introduced something which was very nice, and either discontinue or downplay it, I don't know now. But then there are aspects of it again that was not properly done as at that time. Yes, if you are giving somebody, if you give somebody 100 million naira, 20 million naira, record of expenditure has to come out at the end of the month before you give that person another allocation. They were not collecting this data, this record for the people to see. A chairman will get 600 million, 500 million naira. Next month they will give the same person the same amount of money without giving record or report of what he has done with this money.
All right.
So we need this record if we want to fight corruption, so that when people are reading it, they can now have the basis to ask questions or compare what happened, how justify the money, how the expenditures. So we need to know how much is going to state, local government, and then we need to know how it was spent, how they use the money. Auditors should come in after the chairman has given his report. The money at the end of July, these are what I have done. Then they hand it straight to auditor. Auditor will now go through it to ensure that they match each item on this list he has given to you. Then EFCC will now take over from there to look at the record. That's how to stop corruption. You're already fighting corruption. But when you are waiting for the money to be stolen, somebody will remove our money before a whistleblower blows it. If there's no whistle in anybody's mouth around there, you will not hear about that the money is gone into voicemail. But then if we are pro this fight, we fight this fight. If fight is to stop somebody from doing it, that's the fight I know. Right. Fight is not after somebody have done something, you are dragging the person back and he has done it again. That's no fight.
All right, so the last caller before we go, because I know we have less than 3 minutes to go. Now, the last caller mentioned that if other administrations before President Buhari's administration was able to fight little, of this corruption that we are talking about, then of course would have had a better place.
We are talking
Nigeria.
about Magu versus Rebadu. You go and check the records. It's very simple. Rebadu did a lot of work as well under Obasanjo, but it was political. Magu is doing a lot of work, but he too is also political. The records are there. See, if EFCC is the main organ for anti-corruption fight in Nigeria, we must amend the act.
The EFCC Act?
Yes, it's very faulty. Abenajo. You know why? It says that the head of EFCC must be a serving policeman. I don't believe that the police is the best institution to supply the head of EFCC.
Are you alleging that the police itself, as
the police as an
institution
in itself, is as corrupt as other institutions in Nigeria? Customs, all of them, they're all corrupt. You have to make this thing open, leave it open, so that somebody that Nigerians can vouch for can be there. Take for instance, if somebody like Father Kuka were not a priest, Urisabakoba is free, we have Nigerians that can head EFCC and you get resolved. There are some retired generals. Look at somebody like there's this former military governor of Kaduna State. If you bring somebody like that to head EFCC, you're fighting. You bring a serving policeman who is worried about his job. He has to be in the good books of even the IG of police. He can't even look in that direction. Ribadu tried it with Balogun, the IGP Balogun then, and he later suffered it in the hierarchy, in the hands of the hierarchy of the police. So you need to check. You need to go back to the foundation, the architecture, and rejig it if you really want to fight. And let there be full disclosure. Let them tell us where they got the money from, who they got the money from, how much they got, their names, and charge these people to court. You need to popularize these people. Those people that were convicted, we want to see their names on the pages of newspaper. The Nigerians need to know who they are. We need to know what we recovered. We want to know what the money is channeled back into. And there should be a law. There should be a law by the National Assembly, specifying what the recovered funds should be applied to. We should have the roads, infrastructure, named after anti-corruption. Let us have anti-corruption highways. We know that these highways were built with recovered loot. Let us have hospitals built, with anti-corruption funds. Let us have such symbolic, monumental, structures. They are gestures that tell a lot psychologically, so that Nigerians will know that a fight is going on. The fight should not only go on, but must appear to be going on.
All right. Thank you very much, SARS, for coming to National Discuss today. Thank you. We took your time from yesterday to today, and I believe you've done justice to what we have today. And of course, for the calls that we could not pick, we had to take our time and digest those things very well. So we won't have reason to, wanting to bring them back, to the show tomorrow. Thank you very much, Nigerians, and of course for people that are watching. And for those that have given their contribution, you can follow us on our social media handles. We'll be rolling on the scroll bar. I still remain your host, Uche Uduma. I think we have done justice to, the fight against corruption, x-raying it and looking at if it's balanced or not balanced, or what are the faulty areas versus actually what we've done today. And from me, say goodbye. See you same time tomorrow for another interesting topic. Then a repeat of this program, goes by 9 p.m., 9 to 10 p.m. at night. So at that point, we don't entertain live calls. Goodbye from me.